Hey everyone. Well, I told you, today we're reviewing Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo. Now, I did lie about something. In my first YouTube short, I will be doing more than reviews. I just said that so we could get off the right foot, but I'll be doing tier lists and rankings and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just excited to start this brand new. So, we're just gonna get started. So yeah, we're reviewing Donkey Kong Country today. One of the Super Nintendo's most flagship games. I beat these yesterday on the Nintendo Switch Online. So now I'm gonna review it. And honestly, I watched an episode of the Donkey Kong Country TV show. It was garbage. Like absolute garbage. So honestly, I wasn't saying I wasn't bored by this game. In fact, far from the actual. What I'm trying to say is I wasn't really anticipated for it. But after playing it, my opinions have definitely changed. So we're just going to get started with reviewing in 3, 2, 1. The story. The story is probably the most basic part of the game, but you don't really need a story for a game, so I'm not going to get mad, but a story is a good part to a game, but it doesn't really matter. Donkey Kong's bananas have mysteriously gone missing. Now it's up to DK and Diddy Kong to get all the bananas back and even stop the treacherous King K. Rool from taking over the jungle. It may sound like it's actually a decent plot for a movie. While sure it is very easy that the plot is very predictable if it wasn't a movie, it still worked for a feature film. So honestly, translating that plot but into a game kind of makes sense, to be honest. It is quite predictable, but I'm not going to fault it too much. The story, where else do I go? I mean, there's not a lot to say about it. The visuals. Am I the only one who thinks this, but the visuals look kind of weird. Actually, I'm going to say graphics. The graphics. The graphics look a little weird. Now, sure, it does have its distinct style, but it looks a little weird. Do you know what I mean? Games like Super Mario World look fantastic. While this has a bit of pixels on it, you know what I mean? Well, Super Mario World, F-Zero, and all those other games really don't have that. So it makes it kind of wonky to play. Especially if you don't like flashing things, because that Nintendo Presents is so flashy. I'm not gonna lie. I was so flashed by the first time, but I don't have epilepsy or anything, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not that mad by the visuals, and it still does look nice. And plus, it's fine to have its own distinct art style. Maybe they could have browned Donkey Kong a bit more, because he looks like a dark tan in his fur, while in this game it's just dark brown like most of Donkey Kong's iterations nowadays. So honestly, if they fix that along with the flashing set and maybe trying to go for a more traditional style without trying to go too different, it may have been perfect graphics. But the graphics are just because of all those reasons I just explained. The gameplay. Now this is where it gets juicy. The gameplay. The gameplay is definitely one of those essential parts to a video game. Not just a Nintendo game, no, a full-blown video game. And this game does not disappoint. It feels very satisfying whenever you beat a level because you know how hard it is. And it feels satisfying because the levels are hard. But since the levels are hard, it has to make a sacrifice. The game is really short. I'm not going for 100% in video games. No. I only got like 45% because that's beating the main game. And it only took me like 2 hours to complete. I'm fine with short games like Luigi's Mansion and stuff like that. But not that short, like 2 hours. And I've heard that the second and third game are also really short, which I will also be playing and reviewing on the channel. So keep an eye out for that. Anyway, it's very short. And I don't like how it doesn't have a specific run button. You have to hold Y, let them dash, and then you run. Or whenever you get out of the air, that's when you start running for a bit. Like when you get out of a cannon or something. It just feels very weird. I'm not gonna lie. And yes, the bananas are endless. It's literally impossible to beat this game without touching a single banana in the second level. Okay, I'm just babbling on for nothing. And there were a lot of the same enemies, like claptraps. I remember one scene, I took a picture, which I rarely do on my Switch. I took a picture when it was dark in the game, and there was like this enemy who had wings. The spikes on the wings looked like teeth, and so it looked like I was playing like a horror game or something. It was terrifying. And that's coming from someone who rarely even puts pictures on the Nintendo Switch online. So honestly, that's kind of rare nowadays. That's only like my 4th picture. Which I plan on adding more, because I only recently started adding pictures. But to be honest, it was super creepy, but I will blame the visuals, not the gameplay for that. Donkey Kong Country is overall one of the Super Nintendo's greatest games. And that's coming from someone who thinks Super Mario Bros. 3 is overrated. Which I'll make a YouTube short about tomorrow. Donkey Kong Country has a decent story that could that works well, especially for like a feature film. The visuals look nice, even though they may be a little flashy and stuff like that, like all the pixels. And the gameplay, while short, is extremely fun. This game is not giving the Dominic seal. I'll have to come up with a better name. I never planned this out, but yeah, I'll have my own seal of approval for games and movies that get 9 out of 10 or above. But it doesn't get that. This game doesn't get that seal. While this game is still great, I do have a few issues with it. The story is kind of predictable. The visuals are a bit flashy, and kind of the pixels kind of ruin everything. And the gameplay does bother me at some points. But this game is still overall really great. I'm hoping we get Donkey Kong 64 and 64 Nintendo Switch Online. I definitely play that since I own the expansion pack. Story, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Graphics, 8 out of 10. Character, gameplay, 8 out of 10. Overall, this game is going to get an 8 out of 10. Thanks a lot for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later with some more juicy content. Bye-bye.